Hey, so what is going on, everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and today I'm going to be bringing you my Microsoft E3 2015 conference overview, recap, review, whatever you want to call it. I try and wrap everything up in one, and I'm doing this a little bit different this year. Ever since 2012, so 2012, 2013, 2014, what I do is I do overviews just of me talking on camera normally of the big three conferences, so Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. Those are the ones I cover. Now, the Microsoft one was first. That is the one I've seen. I have not seen the Sony one yet or the Nintendo one yet, but I'm going to try and upload them, as fast as I can and everything. This one I had to wait quite a few hours because I was at work when this aired, but I just finished this. And I will say the big difference with this as well too, I'm just doing an audio recording and there's going to be gameplay footage up on here. Normally, as I said, I would record myself, but I just don't feel like getting properly dressed and all that. I'll be straight up. And at the same time, I have a ton of gameplay footage that I have recorded, and I need to get it off my hard drive. So you know what? This is the perfect opportunity to do so. So this is going to be a long video, and you really don't need to see the gameplay. So if you want to just listen to this like a podcast, you can go ahead, Alt-Tab to something else. You'll be good to go. But let's talk about this conference. So actually, I lied. Before I get into that, I just have to say, I'm going to be saying some very good things about this conference. That's going to be a bit of a spoiler. And I will say this, I don't play the fanboy card. I really don't. I'm going to be looking at these conferences with as unbiased reviews as I could now. Of course, because I am a human being, I am going to have a bit of bias. But because I covered so much Xbox 360 stuff last generation, a lot of people think I'm a major diehard Microsoft Xbox fanboy. No. No. In fact, if you've known me, I haven't even really truly enjoyed the Xbox One until about a month ago. And up until then, when friends were personally talking to me about it, I wasn't even recommending the system. I was saying, no, get a Wii U, get a PS4, build a PC. Unless you have a dying desire to get an Xbox One, don't get an Xbox One. And there were people, they listened to me. Some people didn't listen to me. But what I'm trying to say is the Xbox One has not lived up to my expectations. And I didn't really start enjoying it, as I said, until about a month ago. And now I'm actually liking the system more. It's becoming a better system to me. Like at first I liked it, then I didn't really like it. But now it's coming back. And this year I will say, let's get into the conference because it's going to explain a lot. So if you hear some clicking and all that, it's because I type up all my stuff on here through notes. But let's go ahead and get through this because it's going to be quite a bit. So first off, they did their introductory video and all that, and it was pretty much first party exclusives and all that. It looked pretty good. Nothing much to say about it, but they always do some good montages and everything. Then Bonnie Ross from 343 Industries came out, and I will say they did not grant something that was on my E3 2015 wish list. I wanted a formal apology from Bonnie Ross or from anyone at 343 Industries about the horrible, deplorable, broken state that the Master Chief Collection was in for so many months, and they didn't apologize about it. I am slightly disappointed about that. I am going to say that. But they were claiming that 2015 is going to be the greatest year for games on Xbox. And then they showed Halo 5 Guardians. Now, they finally showed some campaign gameplay, which is what I'm excited for. Now, as you all know, there was about a month of a multiplayer beta for Halo 5 Guardians. And it was fun. I did like the multiplayer. It was cool, but I'm not a big multiplayer person. When it comes to Halo, I love that campaign, man. I love campaign. But they said, it was built from the ground up for the Xbox One. And I'm actually a bit hyped for this game. Now, I don't get super hyped for games anymore because I don't want to be, real disappointed and all that. It's hard for me to get excited for games now. But I'll say this, kind of a spoiler alert for another video. I plan on doing a review of this series, but if you all have listened to Hunt the Truth, it is a podcast that just finished up yesterday, and it is like a podcast radio show about Halo 5, and it's supposed to be the background of it and everything. I'm not going to say too much about it because I have a review coming out for that. But man, if you listen to that entire radio show, you'll be hyped for Halo 5. Now, as I said, they showed campaign footage, and you're playing as Locke, so you're not playing as Master Chief. And I want to explain it to you all, but Hunt the Truth, that's what you need to follow, or just follow something else with the story, and it will make more sense. But it looks very clean. And the funny grunts are back. I'm happy about that too. Like at the beginning, there's like a grunt that's running around. He's like, I regret everything! Just like freaking out. It looks like most of the mechanics, if not all of them, are back from Halo 4, except they've been improved, so you got the sprinting, everything like that. The explosions looked great as well. There weren't any frame drops from what I from what I saw there, and it looked pretty well. Like, it looked like it ran pretty well, and it looks like it's one of the more fast-paced Halos compared to all the other Halo games. One thing that did surprise me is that there are now squad callouts for everything, and it almost kind of looks like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is the funny thing. Now, yes, it is obvious they did steal a bunch of things from Call of Duty, or I guess Call of Duty stole a bunch of things from Halo, but it looked more natural in a way, just because Halo's always been in space. Call of Duty just recently went to space and jetpacks and all that stuff. Now they showed off a bunch of new weapons as well, or at least a few of them, and there's like a Covenant alien style crossbow type thing, which is awesome. And then they also had this insane like slow motion kill type animation where it's like your Spartan jumps into the air and then you have a circle where you're aiming where you want to attack. So they aimed it like right below an enemy and he just pounced on the enemy, attacked him. That looks pretty cool. And this is also going to be coming out this year, October 27th. I got it pre-ordered. I pre-ordered it a few months ago because, I mean, I'll be straight up. I love Halo. I do. No other way to say it. But one thing I'm very excited about with this game, they're adding in drop-in, drop-out co-op. Ever since 2007, since I played Halo 3 online, I've been wanting that feature, and I even told people, how the hell is it that Gears of War, a game that came out in 2006, had drop-in, drop-out co-op that works pretty damn well, but Halo 3 and any of the other Halo games did not. If you started at a co-op, if you've never played Halo co-op, let me explain it to you. You have to start with everyone you want to play with in the lobby. Then if you're playing in the middle of the game, if somebody lags out or somebody quits, they can't get back in unless you go back to the lobby. Anything like you can't drop in. You can't drop out. That's just the best explanation I have. You have to start from the beginning, and essentially, if for whatever reason you drop out, tough luck. You got to wait on your team to do whatever the hell they want to. And most time, they're going to finish the level because nobody really wants to quit out to the menu and start the level over again. Now, the Halo 5 multiplayer, they briefly touched up on this as well, too, and they've said that the maps on the Halo 5 multiplayer are supposed to be, like, 4 times the size of maps in all the other Halo games. There's going to be AI in there as well too, and it's completely changed up, so it looks like Warzone. I don't know if that's what they're going to call the actual multiplayer, like in Halo 4 where they called it War Games, but Warzone is what they were advertising it as, and from what I saw, it looked like you do have, the 2 teams of enemies, fighting against each other, but it kind of looked like you could also fight, the Covenant and aliens and any other mutual enemies you have on the map in real time. It looked pretty cool. It looks a lot more intense than the beta, and it looks fun. Not gonna lie, it looks really fun. Now there's a new game coming out, and this just looks great. It's called ReCore, and it is from Kenji Ifune. I believe that's what it is, how you say his name, and it's from the team that did Metroid Prime. Now, I was shocked they put that in, because Metroid Prime, as you know, is a Nintendo exclusive. And they put it in there. But if you don't know who Kenji Ifune is, I guarantee you probably know him. He did the Mega Man series, he did the Onimusha series, and the Dead Rising series. I mean, this game gave me chills. It looks great. It has kind of, a cartoony, slightly cartoony look and feel to it, and it takes place in a desert from what I saw. They didn't explain too much about it, but from what I saw with the trailer, it essentially looks like there is this girl who's going around in a desert fighting all these enemies, and she has this, like, dog-type thing, and it looks like it's kind of like a spirit in this orb of energy. So, for example, if the body dies, she can, like, pick up this orb and, transpose it into another piece of hardware. Looks pretty interesting. After this, Phil Spencer came out. Now, he came out to talk about ReCore, and he calls it a first-party franchise. Listen to that. So, there might be sequels already planned. That's what I'm thinking. But essentially, he had a speech about saying that he wants to build the best platform for everyone. He also believes that this is going to be the greatest games lineup in Xbox history, and he's been listening to the community of Xbox gamers. He's mentioned monthly updates that the feedback helps, and he even says that there's going to be a new feature that's going to be added later on. And I just have to say this on the side, no matter who you are, if you're into gaming, and whether you play on the Xbox or not, You gotta love Phil Spencer. And the reason why I say that is he is different than other heads of companies. And by that I mean he seems to be a nice guy. He seems to be entertaining. Now people say, yes, you have to be like that if you're the head of a company. But here's the thing I really respect about him. He tells the truth. Even if it hurts the Xbox One or it hurts his image or the Xbox brand, he will tell the truth. One great example was when DirectX 12 got announced for the Xbox One. All the Xbox fanboys were freaking out, saying this is going to be a game changer. All of a sudden, we're going to have the best system out. It's going to be so much better than the PS4. Phil Spencer himself even came out on Twitter and said DirectX 12 is not going to make that big of a difference. He has been there to diffuse so many things, to squash so many rumors, and that is what I like about him. And I think that's why people like him even more, you know, compared to Don Mattrick, because Don Mattrick, I'll say this. There's a big reason why he's working for Zynga, which is one of the worst companies ever. Just, you know, moral-wise and just some of the other stuff they do. But aside from that, I love Phil Spencer. I'm sure many other people respect him just because, as I said, even if he says something that makes the Xbox sound worse than the PlayStation 4 or any other competition, he will say it, and I gotta respect him for that. I gotta respect the truth. So this new feature, or there were a few other features, but this feature, oh my god. Like, backwards compatibility. Backwards compatibility. Now, for people that don't know the technicalities behind the Xbox One or even the PlayStation 4, I'm going to explain this. For the past few years, both Sony and Microsoft has said that because of x86 architecture in their systems, they cannot be backwards compatible with their older systems. So, for example, the Xbox One cannot be backwards compatible with the Xbox 360 and the PS4 with the PS3. Now, here's the thing. Sony has kind of worked around it. They have PlayStation Now where you can play PlayStation 1. I don't know about PlayStation 1, but you can play at least PS3 games and maybe even PS2 games that you can stream. So that's how they do the backwards compatibility. You have to stream them over the internet. Here's the big thing. They've said that this is native. Now, by native, I don't think they're just going to have it natively running on there. Yes, it is going to be utilizing the Xbox One's architecture and, you know, system and everything, but I'm believing that they are using the architecture to emulate the Xbox 360, which just excites me because then the techie inside of me thinks, what if this is also on Xbox, not on Xbox, but on Windows 10, and because it's x86 architecture, if anything gets really, like, you know, just largely cracked on a large scale, there's a big possibility that this would make an Xbox 360 emulator running on Windows even easier to accomplish, and we've already seen some good accomplishments with Xenia 360. Just check it out right now. I recommend that. But anyways, they had some insane cheers. Going back to this, there were insane cheers coming from the audience with this, and he said the games that you invest your time and money in can be played natively. This is for Xbox Live Arcade and Xbox 360 titles. And it's crazy because they've said by this holiday season there's going to be over 100 titles that are going to be available with this. The digital games that you own that are compatible are going to show up in your library, and get this, retail discs. You put the disc in, so you have an Xbox 360 disc, you put it in the Xbox One, it downloads the game, and it's ready to go. Now, here's the thing. I need to test this out, and I actually bought one of the games on the list. I end up rebuying Cameo because I do want to test this out firsthand. But they said download the game, and I don't know if they mean you pop it in and it downloads it from Xbox Live servers, or you pop it in and it installs it off the disc itself and then has like an emulator running over it. I don't know how that's going to be, but I'm going to test that out later. So what they did is they showed Mass Effect running from the 360 on the Xbox One, and it was definitely an Xbox 360 title. I'll say this, it didn't look very good. The frame rate was pretty bad on it, but he said that the game runs exactly like it does on 360, but better thanks to the power of Xbox Live. And by that, they mean multiplayer is going to be intact, screenshots are going to work. You can also broadcast your games as well through Twitch, I'm assuming. There's going to be game DVR, and you can stream Xbox 360 games playing on your Xbox One to the Xbox app on Windows 10. And developers don't have to do anything crazy. Essentially, they just need to set it up for their game and say, yes, this game can be on the Xbox One, and bam, that's how it can be. That sounds pretty awesome. I'm sure a lot of developers were excited about it. And apparently now, if you are a preview member, backwards compatibility is available. The funny thing is, one of the games that's on there is Perfect Dark Zero, and I rebought it this weekend when I visited home, but I said, you know, I'm not going to play this for a while, I'm just going to set it over to the side, and like days later, seriously, days after, like 2 or 3 days after I buy it, they say that backwards compatibility works on the Xbox One, and Perfect Dark Zero is one of the first titles. Unbelievable. So next up, this is something that really excited me too. The Xbox Elite wireless controller. This is even better than I expected, because I said that I had heard that there's going to be a new Xbox controller coming out, and that's why I have not bought a new controller, at least right now, because I was waiting for E3 to come around. But there's going to be a 3.5mm headphone jack. They didn't specify whether it was going to transfer in-game sound or anything like that. I hope it does, because the Wii U and the PS4 have that. The Xbox does not. But there's buttons on the back of the controller. There's going to be hair trigger locks for the triggers as well. The D-pad has been changed up, and this just made me scream, what? Like, I screamed in my apartment when I saw this. There's going to be swappable components, swappable buttons, and paddle remapping for everything. So you can remap everything, and they even showed that you can change out, you can just plug and play all the little components on there. What? I never would have imagined an official game company doing this. This is why SCUF controllers exist, because people want this stuff. But I gotta say, if you saw this and you saw how it is and the Xbox Elite controller comes out like this, there's gonna be no reason to buy a SCUF controller for the Xbox One. No reason at all. Like, goodbye SCUF. I really hope this is gonna be a reasonable price. I expect this might be like $60, $70, something like that. Then they showed Fallout 4 after this. So they did show it yesterday at the Bethesda conference, which I only saw the gameplay for it, but they really weren't playing the game up there. It was just, you know, cut, copy, paste, whatever, like gameplay footage and all that. And some of it looked like it could have even been from the conference, but there was some original stuff as well too. Like they called the character Phil Spencer, but I don't really know how truthful they were with actually playing the game right there. Because as I said, it was legit gameplay, but it's easy enough to change the gameplay, and I just think it was a lot of pre-recorded stuff too, so please take that with a grain of salt. But I will say Fallout 4 does look fantastic. I will be getting it on PC. I'm going to explain some stuff because I will say it does look awesome on console, but after playing Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas on consoles, I can't do it again. Not because the mods or anything, but because of how glitchy they were on consoles. I'm just going to get it on PC, honestly. But they call the character Phil Spencer, which I found pretty funny, and they're saying that there's now going to be a second screen experience, so if you have a smartphone, and I'm assuming you know the Xbox One Smart Glass app, I'm assuming that's going to be it. They didn't officially say it, but that's the safe assumption right there. You can actually use your phone as a Pip-Boy. So that's pretty neat to see. It looks great, as I said, but I don't know what platform it's really running on. I thought it looked pretty good. You see all the dynamic characters and everything, and the gunplay looks a lot better than before. Now it looks like you can actually legitimately play it as a straight first-person shooter if you don't want to use the VAT system. But my god, they had some power armor gameplay and some gameplay showing the minigun. That just looked insane. Now here's a big announcement, alright? They came out and said that they've been working with Xbox, well, Microsoft specifically, for about 15 years, ever since Morrowind, and they gave big shout-outs to Microsoft, and they said there's been one thing they've been wanting to put on the Xbox platform, and they finally have. And this is big. They're putting modding. They have said that you can now play with Fallout 4 mods on the Xbox One, and the mods can be transferred, played, and shared for free on the Xbox One from the PC. So now the PC is not the only game that is officially limited with mods. Well, officially limited to mods and everything is what I'm trying to say. Now if there are mods for Fallout 4 on PC, they're going to be available on the Xbox One version. That's unreal, man. I'm so happy to see that. So next up, Peter Moore from EA came up, and man, I'm so happy. I'm so happy they didn't spend 30 minutes on sports. Thank the Lord for that. But anyways, they said that they have 360 games that are going to be played on the Xbox One. They've talked about EA Early Access, so the new Madden 16, you can play it early. The new Need for Speed, you're going to be able to play it early. All games that they're going to be releasing pretty much are going to be played early. Now, they also put up Titanfall for free on the EA Access Vault. In case you don't know what EA Access is, it's pretty much $5 a month. You play unlimited games on there. You can get free trials of games, all that other stuff. Like, for example, there were several games that came out, like, I think, like, Battlefield Hardline was one of them, where you got to download the game, like, sometimes up to a few weeks early, and you have like a limited time frame that you can play it for like 4 or 6 hours early. So that's pretty cool. They put Titanfall for free in the vault. Oh, okay, that's cool. I can imagine a lot of people who, you know, really invest money into Titanfall are mad, but, you know, repopulate the game. I don't really see an issue with that. This shocked me though. Dragon Age Inquisition is going to be in the vault. They said at the end of summer it's going to be in the vault, and you know what? I might have to renew my EA Access subscription now. Can't believe I'm actually wanting to pay EA for stuff now. But they've also said, you know, of course, you get 10% off EA games if you have the EA Access thing and you buy the game digitally. And they've also said the EA Access Vault is free this week. So EA Week, I'd recommend trying it out if you have an Xbox One. Next up, they showed Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2. It was a CGI trailer. I mean, the world was overtaken by zombies. Boom, boom. I wasn't that excited about it. Forza Motorsport 6, it was pretty much a big Ford advertisement. They brought in a Ford GT Forza 6 customized car. Nobody was excited for it. It's E3. It's not a show. Come on, man. It's not an auto show. That's why nobody was really excited. But I found it shocking that Henry Ford III came out, and then there was the creative director of Tin Turn that came out. They're claiming it's technically the most advanced and biggest game to come out, but after Forza 5, man, you saw like, Forza 4 had so many more things and, like, more tracks and all compared to Forza 5, and Forza 5, you know, they lied about the footage and all that, where they had actual, like, at E3, they had, you know, rendered people on the side, and then Forza 5 came out, and they were just, like, paper cutouts. Like, it's hard for me to really be excited or believable about this game, especially since I really don't like Forza. I like Forza Horizon 1 and 2. I also liked the Forza Horizon Fast and Furious expansion they did. I just don't like Forza Motorsport because I don't really like simulators that much. So we're going to skip past this. It's 1080p, 60 frames a second. There's supposed to be 24-car multiplayer. Pre-order it now, you get a bonus. It's coming out September 15th. Okay, we're done with that. Dark Souls 3, it was nothing but a CGI trailer. It looks cool, but CGI trailers don't show me anything about the game. Early 2016. The Division, post-apocalypse. Story seems pretty interesting. It was a cool cinematic trailer, but I mean, you don't really see anything about it, like, related to the gameplay, so hard for me to get excited about it again. But Xbox One players are going to get an exclusive beta this December. Then they showed Rainbow Six Siege. It's coming out October 13th of this year. They talked about the destructible environments and all that, and this is real cool. They said that Rainbow Six Vegas and Rainbow Six Vegas 2, which are two very infamous games from Tom Clancy's series, are going to be backwards compatible by this holiday. Now, these are like, you can find these games for like $3 to $5 in a bargain bin somewhere, so they're pretty cheap, but check this out. Those two games, Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2, are going to be free with Rainbow Six Siege. I think that's a really awesome gesture. I didn't like Vegas 1 that much, but Vegas 2, I thought it was cool, and a lot of people loved it. Now, a lot of people I know stopped playing the game. Apparently, there was an update that came out that pretty much turned the spawns into random spawns instead of static spawns, so they would prevent spawn killing. But then people said as soon as they implemented that update, it was pretty much like Call of Duty. So, I don't know. People liked it, people didn't like it, whatever it was, but I just know Vegas 2, very well-crafted game. And they actually showed gameplay for the trailer. Looked pretty cool. Well, for the game. It looked pretty cool. I will say that. So next up, they had this game called Gigantic. This is going to be a Windows 10 and Xbox One exclusive, and it's a colorful-looking cartoon-style game that seems to be all team-based, and you're working together to take down this monster. Looks kind of like a more cartoony version of Evolve, excuse me. And there's a lot of, like, animal-type characters and all that. It looks cool. There's going to be a beta this August, and it is going to be free to play. So neat for that. Now, then they did a big indie segment right here. They did ID at Xbox, which is the Xbox division for indie games. There's a lot of indie titles. They looked amazing. Honestly, I don't like indie games. I'll say that. Most of the time, most indie games I don't like. The reason why I say that is because most indie games that come out are a side-scrolling pixelated game that is supposed to have a deep, meaningful story that you don't understand unless you beat the game 2 or 3 times. And I'm just like, and then they all become the same. Like, for years, every indie game that came out tried to be Braid, because that was the first real successful indie game. But these all looked very good. And then they showed a little bit of each one. Well, most of them. So, Tacoma. This is going to be first. It's coming out first on Xbox One and PC. It's not going to be exclusive, but it's going to come out there first. It's going to be a first-person... It looks like a first-person type space station game. Almost like System Shock. It looks real creepy and lonely. Kind of like Alien Isolation. That's really what it reminded me of. And they showed a bit of gameplay in the trailer. I thought it looked pretty cool. Ashen. This is going to be an Xbox One exclusive, and it's a cartoon style, like open explorer kind of type game. It has like, you know, the sadness of Limbo, and it seemed a bit like Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, but essentially I just saw some people went into a tomb, there were a bunch of undead skeletons and enemies, and it's a real like lonely and depressing looking game. I think it looks cool. I like those games. Beyond Eyes, oh my god, they barely showed any of this, but this game looked beautiful. I'll say that straight up. It's coming out first on Xbox One and PC, so it's not an exclusive, but it's coming out first on there, as I said. And it's about a girl who is blind, who is leaving her childhood home for the first time. This game made me smile, it gave me goosebumps, and as you walked around the world, you saw, like, the colors, you know, just, like, bloom around you. It looked beautiful. I want to play that game. Cuphead. Never seen this done before. This looks awesome. Essentially, they said they wanted to take the look of a 1930s style cartoon with the precision of a 16-bit platformer and make a game, and it looks like so far they've done it very successfully. Now, this is going to be an Xbox One exclusive or Xbox console exclusive, so it might be on 360, I don't know, but I'm not holding my breath on that. They just said Xbox console exclusive. I've never seen this art style before, as I said, and it legitimately looks like an old school, like Popeye or Mickey Mouse cartoon that you control. It's also coming out in 1936 plus 80 years, so in case no one wants to do math because it's summertime, it's coming out 2016. Now, they also announced something called Xbox Game Preview. This is essentially early access for the Xbox. They're saying that every game is going to have a free trial, and then you can decide after that free trial expires if you want to buy in early or if you want to wait. And there's 4 games that they're going to be demoing this with. They're going to have The Long Dark, Sheltered, Elite Dangerous, and DayZ. People flipped out with DayZ, and apparently today, you can now actually go onto the marketplace and you can try out early access with The Long Dark and Elite Dangerous. Next up, one of the people who headed DayZ came and showed Ion. His name is Dean Hall, okay, creator of DayZ, that's who he is. This is going to come out first on PC and Xbox One. Looks like it's going to be based in space. He said he wanted to create like a space-type MMO that's going to be unscripted and all that, but nothing was shown about the game. He just said what he wanted to create. He showed a CGI trailer. I don't know anything about it. I can't even say if it looks cool or not. Rise of the Tomb Raider. They said, here's the thing, this weird. Rise of the Tomb Raider, they said that this is going to be an Xbox exclusive, coming out holiday 2015. Now, if you all remember, the Tomb Raider reboot was a multi-plat. So, I don't know what they're doing with this. I think it's just going to be a timed exclusive, honestly, but they just said Xbox exclusive. They showed gameplay of it. The beginning, when she's walking around with the torch, you know, in the dimly lit cave, remind me so much of Silent Hill 1, where you're Harry Mason. How did I screw that up? You're a Harry Mason, and you find, you know, like the stabby short dudes for the first time in the, in that creepy place, you know, where is it? The corridor, the alley. That's it. It reminded me so much of that. But essentially, there was just a big storm, like, and she was climbing everywhere and all that. Like, it was essentially like same type of gameplay and all that. But it looked great. I will say that it looked really fun. I'm gonna play this game. I loved Tomb Raider, the reboot of it. It screwed up my sleep schedule, actually, because I kept staying up late trying to beat it. But fantastic game. I love the first one. I'm definitely gonna play Rise of the Tomb Raider. And then it kind of cut out later into CGI and gameplay trailer type stuff. But one crazy detail I saw was at one point you see a worm like crawl around and then like shoot back into someone's skull. And that just looked awesome. Now next up, This was crazy. This is one of my favorite things. They had ribbons showing games, and it had Perfect Dark, Battletoads, Pro-Am, Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day. My jaw dropped when I saw Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is going to be a collection of games called Rare Replay, and it is 30 games for $30. These are the original titles. It's coming out August 4th of this year, and it is celebrating the 30th anniversary of Rare. Now, this is a crazy deal. I'm just saying this. You're paying $1 per game. And these are the original games, too, and even some new stuff. Like, they have the originals, as I saw, like Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie, but they also have Perfect Dark Zero. I saw Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts in there. And the original, they don't have Live and Reloaded, but they have the original Conker's Bad Fur Day, which I can't wait to play that. I paid $50 for my cartridge of Conker's Bad Fur Day. I did a video on that about last year, but it was about a year ago, yeah. A little less than a year ago, I bought it. Cartridge only, $50, and that was a good deal. This way, you're paying $1 for Conker. That's awesome. I'm pre-ordering this tonight. I am. I gotta do that. So then they ended up showing a new game from Rare, and I just have to say, with the Rare Replay collection, I really like that. Just because not only it's a kick-ass deal with some kick-ass games, but it shows that Rare actually still cares about their past. Good job. Good job. That's just awesome. But anyways, a new game is coming out from them. It's going to be called Sea of Thieves. It's going to be an Xbox One exclusive. Now, everything they showed seemed to be first person. It was captured in real time, but they've said that this is their biggest, most ambitious game. It looks great. It looks colorful. It looks like there's going to be a whole lot of co-op. It's going to be primarily co-op. And it's a pirate-themed game where you go around, you hunt for treasure, you go to, like, you know, land, find islands, all this other stuff, and then you venture out to sea with your team and all that. You're fighting other ships. It looks a lot like, you know, I've said what Rockstar, hey, Rockstar, please do this. I've said, and many other people have said, what Rockstar did for the Wild West with Red Dead Redemption, they need to do with pirates. That would be awesome, and it looks like that Rare is tackling this right now. Now, next up, they showed Fable Legends. I'm not excited about it. It's Xbox One, Windows 10 exclusive, fairy magic type game. It's going to be free to play. It's going to be cross-platform. It's cool. It's going to be cross-platform with Windows 10, Xbox One. Anything you buy on one platform works on the other, blah, blah, blah. It's Fable Legends. Okay, I've been in the beta for, like, months, and I haven't even touched it. Now, then they came out and said that there's going to be a new relationship with Valve VR. Now, people were confused, including myself. I was like, wait, did he just say Valve? Like, Valve? Like, that's the one, the company we're talking about? And people were confused, and there was, like, a delayed cheer by, like, 3 or 4 seconds, but then everyone was cheering, and they said that virtual reality, so VR for Windows 10, they're aiming for Windows 10 to be the best platform for VR gaming. The Xbox One controller is going to be bundled with every Oculus Rift when it comes out at launch. You all already know I've tried the Oculus Rift. I think it's a pretty cool machine, but I tried the dev kit too. Still a great machine though. And Xbox One games can be streamed to the Oculus Rift through Windows 10. Now that's crazy. Now the next thing they showed right here is the Microsoft HoloLens, and this is apparently supposed to show you holograms in the real world, and it's going to be powered by Windows 10. Then they showed a demo for Minecraft. So this is going to be, Minecraft is now going to have HoloLens compatibility, and they used a special camera on stage so that, you know, everyone in the world would be able to see what the HoloLens person was seeing. And it looks real cool. Like, this person had a table, and they were able to control everything remotely and show stuff and, you know, help out and use voice commands and all that. It looks real cool. I really hope that it's not going to be like a Kinect 1.0, where it looks real cool on stage, and then it's shit. I really hope that doesn't happen, because the HoloLens looks real cool, but take everything with a grain of salt. Now, this did get a huge applause, so people were very impressed with it, probably because of Minecraft. But I'm not a big Minecraft person, but I actually finally bought it. It's, I don't know. I'm not a big Minecraft person. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know. I'm like one of the 5 people in the world that doesn't like it that much. Now this, I was disappointed with. Gears of War Ultimate Edition. It's been remastered for Xbox One, rebuilt in 1080p. It's going to have 60 frames a second. They said there's going to be new content. Like, is there? I don't know. And they did say that starting this week, for 1 week, there's going to be a public multiplayer beta. So hop on that. Me and myself, reasons why I'm disappointed, there's no collection. I said I wanted a Gears of War collection. I didn't like the first Gears of War that much. And I hope they don't charge that much for this. Like, this game should not be more than $20. Maybe, realistically, they're probably going to release it for like $30, but it should be no more than $30. And if they want you to shell out $40 or $60 for this game, it better be damn well worth it. That's why I said I really hope that they do a collection, but they didn't. And I already have Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Yeah, a lot of other people have it too. You know what it's called? It's called Gears of War PC. That's what it is. Anyways, the next game they showed, I thought it might have been a prequel, but I didn't know because it was new characters I did not see before. But this was Gears of War 4. It's going to be an Xbox One exclusive. It looks great on the Xbox One so far, and there was a big storm going on, huge thunderstorm and all that, so Gears of War has always been, you know, a dark game, and it really represented that darkness in the game, but there was the big storm where they showed a lot of in-game destruction. They were really trying to push the game to its limits. They had a lot of crazy dynamic lighting as well, too. They were really trying to just show off the system, and I have to say, I really hope that it does look this good. Enemies are going to be jumping around and like pouncing on you from what I've seen for attacks and all that. It looks pretty crazy. I'm hoping it's good, and it's coming out holiday of 2016. So until Gears of War 4 comes out, you can play Gears of War Ultimate Edition. As I said, I might pick it up. Like Gears of War 4, I probably will, but Ultimate Edition for Gears of War, if it's cheap, I might get it. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's just finish this right here. So we finished off with Gears of War 4. Phil Spencer came out at the end. He was wearing a rare shirt that made me so happy. And then he said, did he say Gears of War or Gears 4 is coming out this year? Somebody check into that for me, because I thought he said Gears 4 is coming out this year, and I was like, no, it said holiday 2016, but I think I either misheard it or he meant to say Gears of War is coming out this year, because Ultimate is coming out this year. He says that now this is the time to move from your Xbox 360 to the Xbox One, which I couldn't agree anymore. He said there's going to be a new Xbox One UI. Really excited about that, because I hope to God it is so much better than the shit they have on the dashboard or whatever the user interface is right now. And he said that there's going to be more features coming to the Xbox app in Windows 10, and then they closed out with an outro. Man, I gotta say, this was a kick-ass conference. They showed some awesome, useful features. They showed some stuff that might be a little overhyped that could go wrong, like, for example, HoloLens. But they brought in some new things. Like, they brought in, you know, plenty of good games, plenty of exclusives as well, too. Backwards compatibility, I didn't think that was going to happen. Backwards compatibility of all things. The Elite controller, better than anything I could have thought of. Modding is going to be coming to Fallout 4. I gotta say, man, E3 2015, Microsoft, you knocked it out. Like, you knocked it out of the park. That's fantastic conference. Really fantastic conference. The only thing I might complain about is, like, when they were, you know, playing Minecraft, the dialogue exchange between the guy and the chick just seemed kind of cringy and forced. But aside from that, you know, not everyone has acting skills. I don't have very good acting skills. I acknowledge that. But aside from that, you know, there was no drama. They introduced, you know, some really kick-ass features. They announced some awesome new hardware. They announced tons of nice, cool games. It was a great conference. This was a great conference. And I can't wait to see what Sony does. Because there might be some people that are, you know, they're against the Xbox One, whatever it is. Listen, you better believe, even if you hate the PlayStation 4, make sure that you are hoping that the opposing team has a good conference and has some good features. You know why? Because once that starts happening, there's going to be some friendly competition and some cutthroat competition, and who wins? The consumers do. So with Xbox One announcing, you know, the whole backwards compatibility, that's huge. I want to see how Sony's going to respond to this, especially since they have PlayStation Now, where you have to pay to rent the games. I want to see how they're going to respond to that, because this is going to be a very interesting year. But as I said, competition is awesome, and it was drama-free. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. And there's going to be plenty of E3 spam this week. Don't worry.